This episode is brought to you by Ariston Specialties in Bloomfield, Connecticut, makers of amazing olive oils and other Greek delights. Check them out online at aristonspecialties.com. That's Ariston, Ariston, specialties.com. Corn season is on the way, so get ready. Let's see, farmers markets, corn stands, and supermarkets. Get ready because even the local corn is going to end up in your supermarkets. How about you folks? I love fresh corn on the cob. I could just make a meal of it. I don't even need anything else.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I don't eat as much as I used to now because of, blood sugar and stuff. But, man, it's probably my favorite vegetable.
For a cheating day, don't you think?
Yeah, for a cheat day. It's hard to resist in the summer,
And I can't wait for it, It's coming because you can already see corn coming up in the fields,
Yeah.
It's coming. I mean, I know we always get the first just before the 4th of July is the early corn, but you can start getting corn even from New Jersey, which is still, pretty local. You can get that, anytime.
And it's got attitude. Corn with attitude.
My Food Schmooze buddies are here. As you can tell, we got Chris Prosperi of Metro Beast Restaurant in Simsbury, Connecticut, Carl Franklin, and I'm Faith Middleton. Our new home, as you know, feel free to tell anybody to sit and join us for this, is at faithmiddleton.com. See our recipes and ideas, all kinds of shows, all kinds of recipes and ideas at faithmiddleton.com. Okay, Chris, why don't you start us off? What is happening for you? What's your favorite way to do corn?
Oh my gosh, there's so many. I mean, the first time I get corn, is definitely I just boil it because, that first corn you've been waiting all year for. So I get a pot of boiling salted water. I strip the corn and I just boil it for a couple minutes, take it out. And then, we get I always, in the summer, always have a stick of butter that is the corn butter. Because you know how you melt it in there? Right?
Yeah.
And you slide it in. Oh my God.
It gets the hairs in it. Yeah. The husks or whatever.
Yeah.
Do you use those little corn twirlers at the end of your corn
you know
cup?
what? Yeah. And I was just thinking of all the things we used to have as kids. I mean, my parents, we had our own, right? All my two brothers, we each had our own corn holders, Mine were
You mean the little
cob.
things that are plastic that with the tongs that stick in the sides?
Yeah, that stick into the corn.
Yeah, we had them too as kids.
Yeah. And we had our special ones, and don't touch mine.
Oh, okay.
I wish I had them now. I mean, because you really can burn your fingers.
Yeah. That's in the beginning. So that's my first corn. But oh my gosh, I love it either roasted or grilled. You just put it on the grill and some people do it in the husk. I take it right out of the husk. I don't put anything on it. And I just take my corn, put it right on a hot side of the grill and I get it nice and charred. I take it off the grill, just let it cool for a minute or so just so you can touch it and then cut it off the cob. And then, oh my gosh, there's so much you can do with it. Either salads or, mix in some butter in a little saute pan, toss that back on the grill and just melt the butter and a little salt.
He's taken off now. He's on his own planet.
Oh my gosh.
He's on the corn planet.
I think it is, if you live around here, it's gotta be that and tomatoes have to be the thing, the one thing that grows around here that you wait all year for.
Yeah. Well, Chris, because of the way you mentioned about cooking it, and Carl, this is interesting. Although Carl, I don't know, you're probably careful about sugar.
Yeah, I got a few ideas though.
Okay, so
we'll get back to that.
Here's a recipe from, I found this online, and it says from Jamie, and I'm thinking, Jamie, do they mean Jamie Oliver? I don't know. It doesn't say. But here's the deal. They said, bring up a pot of water to a boil, and then as soon as it's boiling, throw your shucks corn in there, say like all 6 ears, and then put the lid on it and turn the heat off.
Ooh.
And so it kind of simmers in there for 10 minutes, just 10 minutes. And they said, peek, and you're going to see it's bright yellow and it's the perfect texture. And what they had everybody do, I forgot to say this is a key, is when the water starts to boil, you put in 2 tablespoons of sugar and 2 tablespoons of lemon juice, fresh lemon juice. And it somehow makes the corn, the corn flavor come through, and it makes it sweet every single time. You know how sometimes you can get corn that's not sweet, and it's a disappointment that way?
Yeah, the first one's never as sweet. You know, the stuff they call it early corn. It's not as sweet and juicy as the stuff that comes post 4th of July. But oh my gosh, it still good. Yeah, I'm going to try that next time. I'm going to try that because that's the corn I always boil. And then there's so much to do with corn.
Yeah,
oh my gosh.
Okay, Carl, how about you?
All right. Yeah. So like I said, I don't eat so much these days, but when I did, oh my, watch out. And like you guys, it's just, boiled or steamed, salt, butter in your mouth, right? As much as possible. But I will say a few things. There's a way to prepare it without water, which is you just take it husk and all and put it in the microwave for 5 minutes.
Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah.
Yeah, you just got to be careful when you open them because the steam will burn you.
Yeah. So I detect a little bit of a different flavor when I do it in the microwave.
You get more of that grassy flavor.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So this is a story about something I used to do, and I wish I still did this, but a bunch of us who lived in the same apartment complex in Willimantic, we would go to the beach together on a Sunday and, spend pretty much the day there. And then we would all come back to our various apartments in the complex. We'd all take showers, so our hair would be damp and sort of slicked back. And we'd get all the sand off us, and we'd meet at one person's house. This was Phyllis Rhodes. And we would have stopped and gotten fresh corn on the cob. And then this would be our meal. We would just put in a zillion cobs of corn and cook it up. And then, we would just sit down and eat it with nothing else, just butter, salt. And that was it. It was our meal. It was,
you can eat 2, 3, 4 cob, right? Ears of corn easy if that's all you're eating. I mean, I can remember as a kids, we used to, just 5 of us, we'd mow down a dozen ears like it was nothing. And my mom was like, oh, I thought we'd have leftovers, not with 3 boys. And we literally mowed through a dozen ears.
How about savory pairings? Like, seafood, clams, mussels.
Chowder, making a chowder with corn. Oh my God, it's so good.
What Chris said, fresh tomatoes.
Yeah, corn and tomato salad. Yeah.
I know.
Right.
So, the question is, I was reading, I was sort of checking on, how to freeze it and can you freeze it? And of course you can. You can just, you don't even have to cook it. You could just cut it right off the cob and then, put it in a bag or a glass bowl and, dish and stick it in the freezer. And there have been years when I've had fresh corn all winter long.
Yeah.
Because it still stays sweet. Yeah. I don't know why, but it does.
It's like one of those things that really does freeze the best. That's the one thing I do all summer long is when we get corn and we get bushels from the local farm, we're always like take half of it, chop it off the cob, throw it in a bag and chuck it in the freezer and basically forget it's in there until that first snow. And there's, I don't know, something about just making a corn chowder in the middle of winter with fresh corn and you're sitting by the window and the snow is falling. It's just like, right? It's
I know. So how would you make a corn chowder?
I do a celery and onion, right? Just like in a normal chowder. And I saute that and then I throw in some garlic, fresh thyme, a little chili pepper flakes, right? And then this is something I learned from a chef a long time ago is if you take your water that you boiled your corn in, and you save that and use that for your broth for a chowder. It works really well. right?
Wow.
So anyway, so saute your celery, onion, celery, onion, and then garlic, a little chili pepper flake, fresh thyme goes in there. Hit it with a little white wine, then pour in your broth, your corn liquid from when you boiled your corn. And then all you have to do after that is chop some potatoes, add your corn. And I thicken with cornstarch now. We used to do flour and roux, but just when it comes up to a simmer, just stir in some cornstarch mixed with a little water. And then right at the end, glug, glug, glug with the heavy cream, and you finish it with some butter.
Cream and butter.
Then, fresh parsley, and you just get some crusty bread, and that's really a meal.
That is a meal.
Sounds good.
Yes.
Did you ever put bacon in it? Do you ever put
You can.
bacon?
Yeah, you can, but you don't have, I don't know. It's in the early ones, yes, but something about that corn when you get it mid-season and it's the sweet corn, it just doesn't need anything. Right?
How about in a cold lobster salad?
Yeah.
Lobster
give you
corn.
that little sweet pop in there.
Oh, yeah.
Oh man.
Corn. How about a corn risotto?
Oh, geez.
Last year we did. Faith turned us on years ago to a lemon risotto. I don't remember where you had it, but I just remember. And I was like, "Oh, we're making a lemon risotto," and the corn had just come in, and we just started. We didn't even cook it. We just, like you said, we just shucked it and threw it in that lemon risotto. So it was a lemon corn risotto. Oh my God! And then some lemon zest over the top with fresh Parmesan cheese.
So incredible.
Yeah, because the acidity from the lemon and the sweetness from the corn and the creaminess from the risotto.
You never told me that you did that.
That was last summer's menu. Yeah.
Oh,
so
at
good.
the restaurant you talking about?
Yeah, at the restaurant, because I was like, like I said, I was like, I'm going to make a lemon risotto, and then when the corn came in, it was like that was the match.
Now, what if you juice the corn and use it in something like a souffle or some other flavoring agent, right?
That's
where you would
idea.
normally have some sort of stock or something?
Yeah. I like also, my favorite is corn cakes. Egg, a little bit of cornmeal, some regular flour, some butter, and you just mix that in, and then you puree up some corn, and you throw some whole kernels in, and just fold that in, and then saute pan with a little butter, and I make them like fit, a $50 size. And you can just pop those in your mouth like candy.
So are those like considered Johnny cakes or hoe cakes?
Yeah, they're like
something?
Johnny cakes, but they're like a loaded Johnny cake, right?
Yeah.
Because they have the whole corn and the corn puree.
Leave it to us to do a loaded Johnny cake.
And I'm telling you, take
What
some
else would we do?
gravlax or smoked salmon and put it on top of those corn
Dude,
cakes.
Lights out.
Yeah, I know. Lobster. I just want some fresh lobster.
Oh yeah,
My
fresh
favorite lobster. He
Yeah,
has it from the same sense.
yeah.
So listen, you might be wondering, what are they doing? Because you might not find corn yet, but it can come from other places.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and like I said, Jersey will be on board any day now, and I've seen some in the supermarket coming up from the Carolinas already. Definitely Georgia.
Yeah, so we just wanted to get you ready. And we're going to take a quick break, but we wanted to get you ready for corn season so you can think about ways you want to do it, or you might try something new, like some of the things we're talking about.
Yeah.
This is the Food Schmooze at faithmiddleton.com. I'm with Carl Franklin and Chris Prosperi, and we'll be right back. I'm Faith Middleton. This is the Food Schmooze Party, and I'm with Carl Franklin and Chris Prosperi. And we're trying to get you ready for corn season. And we hope, like us, you have it all the time. For Carl, it's on a cheat day. So,
But I
okay.
have my own ideas here.
Okay, go.
All right, I did this before when we did our chili and cornbread episode.
Yep.
I can make a faux cornbread using, ready for this, almond flour, allulose or other sweetener, but the real key is the cornbread flavoring.
Ooh.
What?
Yeah, cornbread flavoring. You
forgot.
can get it online, and it comes in a little bottle. And when I say little, it's like an inch, with a dropper. And you
So
just
it's
do
like an extract almost.
Yeah, it's an extract.
Yeah.
But it smells and makes things taste like cornbread. I mean, that's exactly what it's for.
Smell.
It's a chemical.
Oh,
It's a good
that
idea.
Smell.
Yeah, the smell
The
of
cornbread smell when it comes out of the oven,
Oh,
you
it's
know it's
amazing.
cornbread.
I
It's
know.
amazing.
I know. That sounds
and
really
then just
good, Carl.
Yeah, and you can even add a little yellow food coloring if you want it to. I fooled people with it at my house.
Really?
I just served it to a regular group. They weren't, keto or low carb or anything. People coming over for dinner, I'm like, here's some cornbread. Oh, this cornbread is really good. Oh, yeah.
Very cool.
I think so too. Anyway, I'll put a link to it.
Awesome.
Yeah. And so, do you folks ever make corn? Well, Carl, you're careful with this, the carbs, but, Chris, do you ever make cornbread with fresh corn kernels in it?
Yeah, totally. And bacon and jalapeno.
I used to do that too. Yeah.
Yeah,
geez.
totally. But you know what my favorite way of doing corn, because it just came into my mind every year. And this is when we have in the middle of the season when there's tons of corn.
Yeah.
I make corn relish for hot dogs.
Oh, wow.
Oh my God. If you
How
have
do you
not
do that?
had a Hummel, right, from New Haven or, what's the one in Hartford?
Rostlers.
Any of the local hot dogs. If you've not had a local hot dog on the grill with a corn relish, and it's simple. All you do is take your corn kernels, put them in, cut them off the cob, throw them in a pot, and then I throw in a little bit of red onion, some red pepper, green pepper,
Comes the
all
garlic.
diced up, and you put that in a pot, and then I just cover it with white vinegar, just till it's covered, and then you can sprinkle in a little bit of sugar and some salt and a bay leaf in there, and then you just simmer it, and you keep simmering it until that turns into a syrup.
Basic pickle.
And then I throw in, basically, and then you throw in some fresh chives at the end, pack it in little containers and throw it in the fridge.
Wow.
And then I have it all summer. Oh my God, I'm telling you, you get a nice, one of those New England hot dog rolls, and butter the outside.
You mean the split roll?
Oh yeah. And then butter the outsides, get it on a flat top. And then put a grilled, like a charred grilled, like Hummel red hot dog, the
I
spicy
love those.
one. Oh my God, put that in one of those buns and then top it off with the corn relish, and that screams summer and Connecticut, because we have the best hot dogs here.
Yeah,
I know,
apparently
we
we do. I didn't really realize that until I left Connecticut and tried hot dogs everywhere else. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't know why I keep recommending pork things, because I've decided that I'm off pork.
That's a shame.
No, I know I love pork, but my sacrifice is that, I saw this documentary about pigs, and they are so smart.
They
and
are
so
smart.
attuned to feelings. And I thought, I'm going to have to give up pork now.
Yeah.
So
it's a shame because they're also very delicious.
yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know. I once had a freezer full of pork. Yeah.
Right.
So no, I'm not doing it this year. So I'm going to save a pig. Okay.
All
So here's, we're doing the food schmooze. We're trying to get you ready for, corn season. So is there any way, what about cream corn? How do you,
Oh,
what do you think is the best way to do that?
Oh, that's the same. You cut it off the cob, and I don't mess with it. I just cut it off the cob. I throw it in a pot. I cover it with heavy cream. I turn it to a simmer, get it boiling, and then turn it down to a simmer and just let it simmer until it gets nice and thick. And
How
what
long
happens
would that
is
be?
oh gosh, about a half an hour if you do a big pot, because you want to do it nice and slow, because the slower you do it, the more you get the juice to come out of the corn.
Yeah.
So it takes longer to reduce, and that would flavor it. And I know there's recipes with like bacon and all this other stuff, but I'm telling you, corn around here is one of our gifts, you know?
You don't want to pollute it too much.
Yeah, when it's in season, oh my gosh, you don't have to do anything to it because it's sweet. It has a little, like, whatever that funkiness corn has, you know? And you don't have to, like I said, it's one of the few things you have to do absolutely nothing but a little salt and butter and you're done.
I was talking about pairings earlier, but the savory pairings, but for sweet pairings, blueberries and corn seem like they were made for each other.
That's right. That makes a great muffin.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, a corn muffin with blueberry jam. Yeah.
Corn pudding.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Even a cornmeal pudding, like an Indian pudding.
Oh,
yeah.
Right. You used to get them at Durgan Park.
yes.
I had that for the first time in a long time the other day, and we were just talking about how you used to be able to get that at restaurants all over the place. And
That's
I think the one in Durgan Park, I think that's one of the last places that's still.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, because it's so good.
Yeah.
And so that corn pudding has molasses in it,
Yes,
right?
molasses and cornmeal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Delicious.
Wow.
With vanilla ice cream on top.
And we were talking like if you throw fresh, the sweetest corn of the year into that, and then put vanilla ice cream on top. Wow, so
I know.
good.
You know, corn makes great pancakes.
Totally. Put maple syrup over the top. Boom.
So aren't we lucky now that some major supermarkets are going to local farms and bringing in their corn,
Yep.
so you don't even have to travel. But I mean, it's fun to go to the local farm because there's, or the farmers markets in your town.
Let's give them some shout outs. My local corn place is Whittles in Mystic, Connecticut. What's yours, Chris?
Oh, I got Young's right down the street
Young's?
in Granby. Yeah, right on the Granby Simsbury line, Young's Farm. And
You're lucky to have that.
Oh, and they specialize in it. So they do the stuff that they plant in really early under the plastic. So that's the stuff we always get right before the 4th of July. And then every couple of weeks, there's a new variety coming and you're like, I like that one better than the one. And then you just keep, and then in the fall, he even grows the heirloom corn, that you grind into cornmeal.
Yes.
So, I mean, he's full on in corn. Oh, it's so good.
So there's a roadside guy here in Guilford where I am. And, he has this little umbrella up and his little stand. And I don't know where he gets it or whether he grows it or what, but it is the best corn.
Wow.
And so that's my guy. Although the major farmers market here in Guilford, Connecticut, apparently is quite spectacular. And so I haven't gone yet on a Thursday, and I'm going to go as soon as the corn starts to come in and see what I can get my hands on.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing about corn. There's something about it if it's never refrigerated.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You get it. And I mean, I know people that are like almost militant about like, oh, you can't even wait a half hour. Like you got to get it.
Pick
you got to run home, put the pot of water on before you go get the corn. Have them pick you a dozen ears fresh off the stalks and then race home. The water's boiling. Shuck it as fast as you can and put it in that pot.
I remember the first time I saw people in the supermarket shucking the corn and inspecting it before they buy it. I was like, wow, that's kind of weird. But okay, I'll do that.
If it has worms in it,
they want to check to make sure.
And you want to see that you get nice big kernels too.
Yeah.
How about different varieties? Do you like the Silver Queen? Like, that's my favorite. That's the one that comes out later in the
That's the sweeter one.
The sweeter white small kernels.
Yeah.
Oh, so good.
Yeah.
It's just making me crazy for corn.
All right.
It's coming. It's coming.
This happens to me every single time on the food schmooze here. We start talking about a thing and I think, I have to have that right away. If I could go out tonight and get corn, I would. But here's the thing. Frozen corn, I don't mean the one you've cut it off the cob in the summertime, but I mean, even bagged frozen corn, you can doctor it to make it sweet.
That's the second best.
Yeah. You just cook it in milk. Simmer it in milk.
A couple drizzles of maple syrup over the top. Yeah, there's totally things you can do.
Yeah. The worst is canned, I think.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah, we used to fish with it. I think that's the only use for it.
Oh, Faith, I got a question for you. Do you like beans with your cornbread? I'm just checking. Or is that like,
No.
Like
Only when I'm singing.
Yeah.
Okay. I had to ask that. So what else?
Beans and cornbread had a fight, right?
Yes,
Isn't that's the song? Yeah.
Great song.
I know. Beans, not cornbread, out of sight. Right. I forget the third line. I don't.
Cornbread say, that's all right. Meet me on the corner tomorrow night.
Say, all right.
Carl,
do you sing that? Have you ever sung that?
No,
but
I sing some other good jazz food songs. Like there's one called the Frim Fram Sauce.
Yeah, I know that song.
Yeah,
which is great because it's silly. Like you don't understand it. The guy, the chorus is, "I'll have the Frim Fram sauce with the Austin Fay and Shafafa on the side." And I found out the story behind it. The story is that, these guys who used to get together during the Depression and go to a diner or something like that, and one of them didn't have any money. And so they would order their their diner food. And he says, I have the Frim Fram sauce with the Austin Fay and Shafafa on the side, which doesn't exist. And the very last part, the Nat King Cole version, the very last thing says, if you don't have that, just bring me a check for the water.
Oh.
That is so good.
That's great. Every once in a while, I'll whip that out at a restaurant and just look at the puzzled look on the waiter's face.
Carl Franklin here on the show. He's also the editor of the show, and we thank him for that. And he sings around in some places, and he's really good at it. And in fact, you heard him with our theme, so
yes.
You heard him on our theme, and so you can.
Now we don't have to wait for the summer to come because it's already here.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to play that in the winter too.
Absolutely. That's when I play the video on YouTube whenever it snows.
Nice.
Hey, I forgot to say that Bon Bon, our mascot, is here curled up in his bed at my feet, and he's sleeping. He sleeps a lot, and I look down at him and get filled with oxytocin. I just am madly in love with him.
Yeah.
He's such a good little boy.
He's not so interested in corn as he was the last time we were talking about meat.
Yeah, I know. It's so true.
You got to get the right topic to get him excited.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, saying the word meat just reminded me. I was online and I think I was looking for corn things, and I came upon this video of these people who have what they call meat snacks for the dog. And so their golden retriever, if anyone is in the living room, he leads the person to the freezer. And this person puts all extra pieces of meat, cooked meat, into a bag in the freezer. And he's putting his nose up against the freezer like, I want my meat snack.
Right.
And so she takes out the piece of cooked meat out of the bag that's in there and hands it to him, and he eats it frozen. It's
That's
the
so
most
cool.
adorable thing ever.
Wow.
That's a great snack. Like if you had
Isn't
a
that a
leftover
good
whatever,
snack for a
slice
dog?
it up, freeze it, throw it. Yeah, better
Yeah.
than tossing it, right?
And he
Yeah.
likes it cold. I mean,
Yeah, of
I don't
course.
think Bon Bon would eat a frozen thing.
He'd let it thaw.
Bon Bon has exquisite taste. Let's
Yes, he does. He does.
let's
Oh, wow.
Be clear
this
about
was
that.
so much fun.
Oh, now I can't wait for the first corn.
I know.
I know it. Chris, when do you think the earliest corn will be in? Just
Yeah, like I
in
said,
a couple weeks?
right around the 4th of July. Some years it's right before, some years it's on it, some years it's right after. And that's the early stuff that's...
Do you mean local?
Yeah, super local. But I mean, like I said...
What about from Jersey?
Yeah, Jersey. I mean, that's pretty much any week now. They're definitely a few weeks ahead of us. So, yeah, we're into June. So
I'll definitely have an ear of corn on the 4th of July, and I'll report back.
Yes.
And 9 times out of 10, it's local to Connecticut because, like I said, there's enough farms that plant the early stuff, and you see it everywhere.
What's the matter with me? We didn't do Mexican corn.
Oh, sure.
No, with the
Arepas.
cheese.
Yeah.
Arepas.
Tortillas.
I love that. Carl, tell us what arepas are. I used to buy them every week, but go ahead.
So Chris was talking about sort of a corn pancake, and that's kind of what an arepa is. It's a thick pancake-like pancake, I guess it's
dough kind of thing. Yeah,
a thick doughy thing, and usually they're maybe a half an inch thick or so, and they're used as a sort of a plate for toppings, meats and vegetables and salsas and avocados and things.
Yep.
Yeah.
So on the east end of Long Island, when I was living there for a while, I used to go to a place called Mary's Marvelous, and I would buy these arepas, which they would have in little wax paper bags.
Oh, nice.
And and then they would say, okay, are you getting that? I would say yes. And then they'd heat it up for me and then hand it back to me. And that was enough. I didn't even have to put anything else in it.
No, you just
it was
eat
so
it right
filled
there,
with corn.
huh?
And a lot of Latin workers, Hispanic workers would come in and they would get that for their lunch and then, eat something else with it. It's a beautiful thing. It's not hard to make either.
Yeah.
Okay, people. Let's go buy some corn.
Get some corn.
That's it.
And don't be afraid if it's in the Carolinas and Georgia because it's coming up this way. And the closer it gets to us, the sweeter it gets.
Yeah. And you can do a taste comparison test.
Oh, yeah.
You can see, what kinds they have up there and, here. Okay, people. This has been the Faith Middleton Food Schmooze at faithmiddleton.com, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Waiting for the summer to come.